Hello everyone. This is a mid-2007 MacBook. Not a Pro, not an Air, not an iMac, not a Mac Pro, but a 2007 MacBook. Why do I have one in front of me? Well, about a year ago, this was given to me by a friend. He's a pretty cool friend. And I had to fix it up, basically, because when he gave it to me, it wasn't working. Because I was looking for a MacBook, because I, personally, my entire life, I have been an Android and Windows guy. The only times that I've ever had an Apple product would be when I had an iPod Touch back in 2010 and iPad. After that, I don't know why, but everyone in my family was sick of Apple. I was fine with it, but from there on out, I got an Android phone not too long later. Yeah, pretty much Windows and Android my whole life, which is why I have so much nostalgia for Windows XP, which is why I have so many videos about Windows XP. You can find a playlist, by the way. I made a playlist for Windows XP and my brother's PC. If you guys want to go look at the playlists, it's all part of my life is a mess, but you can just watch those parts if you want like some sort of continuity in your life. Anyway, boy, it has been fun working with this guy for the past, well, not for the past. I actually haven't touched this. I was looking through my closet and I found this guy. I don't think I touched it in about a year or so. So when it was originally given to me, I actually had it with a 250 gig hard drive. I think I have it in the backpack. Can you grab my backpack? Thanks, homie. So it actually came with this guy. This is a 250 gig spinning disk hard drive. I think this is a 5400 RPM, 250 gig hard drive, and it had macOS Tiger on it, which I think is like 10.3 or 4 or something. I don't know. I don't really know my macOS versions. There's like way too many of them for my small Windows brain to handle. Anyway, once again, why do I have this guy in front of me? Well, I thought I'd do a review for you all. Let's look back. Let's pretend it's 2007. The grass is green. YouTube was barely a thing, and I think I was in middle school. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and Nicklepie, who's still exercising to this day. Can you believe it? Let's take a look at this mid-2007 MacBook. Let's start with the specs. This guy, it actually has a 2 gigahertz Intel Core 2 Duo, has 4 gigabytes of 667 megahertz DDR2 SODIMM. It has an Intel GMA 650 64 meg graphics card in it, and currently I was able to upgrade this guy all the way to macOS 10 Lion 10.7.5. I've never had, and probably will never have, another Apple product, well, of course, besides the iPad, and my iPod's long gone, but it's whatever. So how was I able to get this guy to upgrade all the way to macOS Lion? And I definitely didn't buy the operating systems because that's a waste of money. So believe it or not, I actually had to search the archives of the internet to find each and every operating system. So even though I started from Tiger, I didn't go straight from Tiger all the way to Lion. I actually went from Tiger, I believe, to Leopard, to Snow Leopard, to Lion. I think that's how it goes. Because it was very, I don't know why, but the information on the internet was super shaky regarding what is the highest version that this MacBook could basically handle. Most people were saying Snow Leopard, and I was able to find that one guy on the internet said Lion. So that's why I was able to go all the way up to Lion. So that's kind of why I had to start from, I had to go like one by one. It was a big pain in the butt trying to find every single DMG, I think they're all DMG files, from the internet, because usually the only way that you're able to acquire these files is from the Apple App Store, which I, of course, being a Windows guy, didn't have any access to. So I had to go into basically very dangerous places on the internet to see if I could find each of these versions. I believe I burned them all onto flash drives and I installed them that way. I thought I would actually have to use disks, but it turns out I didn't actually have to use a disk because this guy does actually have a CD drive, which I guess brings us straight to the I/O of this machine. Over on the left side, we actually have the MagSafe 1 connector. We have Ethernet, mini DVI. Actually, don't see a lot of those anymore. A full FireWire, 2 USB 2.0s, I want to say, and 2 jacks. One's a headphone jack, the other one is an I don't know jack. It's very, very dirty in there. Anyway, on the other side, we just have a CD drive. We have a 1280 by 800 display. It is definitely a far cry from the glass displays that are on the MacBooks of today. It's more of actually a plastic display. It's almost like it melted a little bit. I don't even know anymore. When this guy initially shipped, I believe it was at a price of $10.99. It didn't have, 250 gigs of storage that actually came with mine, nor did it have the SSD that it has in now, and nor does it have 4 gigabytes of RAM that it has now. It actually originally shipped with 1 gig of RAM. That would be 2 DIMMs of 512 megs, and it had an 80 gig SATA 5400 RPM hard drive in this guy, which is, people talk about there's a low amount of storage in MacBooks nowadays, but dude, 256 on the lowest end MacBook Air, which is still cheaper than when this guy came out with only 80 gigs of storage. Maybe we don't have as much to complain about nowadays. But it actually does have Bluetooth 2.0, which connected to my Sony headphones just fine, which I was fairly surprised with. Video playback is not the best, and you're pretty much stuck with 480p on YouTube. So if you go any higher than that, even going to 720p, which this display can actually accommodate for, and unfortunately can't do it. The bandwidth of the Wi-Fi card inside of this device just can't keep up with YouTube requirements for 720p. Anyway, opening up this guy is actually a fairly easy piece of cake. You basically turn the device around, use a quarter or something flat to take out the battery or release the battery. You can remove the battery, and then you can take out the 3 retention screws, keeping a big metal plate in front of the RAM and the hard drive. So once again, a very far cry from upgradability now, or the lack thereof. Because if you have a MacBook from now, if you open it up, instead of being able to be like, wow, I want to put more RAM or storage, Apple's basically like, no Apple Care for you anymore. One thing that I really do want to say about this guy is this laptop has, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the best laptop keyboards I have ever used. The keys are, this thing is just amazing to type on for a laptop. I mean, I have typed on quite a few laptops in my day. I'm not an expert. I don't want to say I'm an expert, but this is one of the best laptop keyboards I've ever typed on, which is really ironic considering that Apple really wanted to push their agenda for their butterfly keyboards for so long. It can just show you that they do have the capacity of not being stupid and actually putting really nice keyboards into their devices. They just don't want to for some reason. Now, I'm not saying these guys probably have ridiculous travel and the keycaps are actually quite tall, but boy, dude, it's like typing on this thing is a dream. It's such a nice time. So anyway, with macOS 10.7 installed, an SSD 4 times the RAM that it initially had at launch, can you use mid-2007 MacBook in 2020? Now, I was stuck with this guy for about 2 weeks, upgrading it, tinkering with it, and actually learning about macOS now. Before I actually had this device, I actually didn't know anything about using macOS before actually having this laptop. Sure, I've been able to, walk into a Best Buy and play with the MacBooks however much I please, but I've never had a personal use case with macOS, so I was pretty much diving in blind. But lucky to say, macOS is a very, very intuitive operating system, and even on this laptop from 13 years ago, Spotlight is far superior to the Windows Start menu. Because let's all be real, the Windows 10 Start menu is a freaking mess. So with Bluetooth, Ethernet, Wi-Fi, an SSD, and like I said, 4 times the RAM as when it initially was bought, how does this thing fare in 2020? Unfortunately, not very well. So if you want to do anything other than browsing the internet, and even that is quite the task for this device, you're pretty much out of luck. If you want to listen to music, well, Spotify doesn't work, and all of the browsers available for this device are all outdated, and the desktop application is too new to actually work on macOS 10.7, which is one thing I want to say about macOS that Windows doesn't really seem to have a problem. A lot of applications, even on operating systems as old as Windows Vista and Windows 7, will still work. Like I said, a lot of macOS applications are plagued by one thing: obsolescence. To put this into perspective, Windows 7 predates the release of macOS Lion by a little under 2 years. Each macOS version has a lifespan of about 3 years, macOS Lion being no exception, releasing in 2011 and being end of life in 2014. Windows 7, however, released in 2009, only recently hitting end of life early in 2020 this year. Despite being an older operating system, it still kept support for 6 more years. And remember, Apple puts a limit on how far you can update your computer. Windows does not, despite macOS having a new release every year and Windows only having a new release every 3 to 5 years. A lot of the times when you try to run a macOS application, either older applications on newer versions of macOS or vice versa, you're kind of out of luck. Now, I know Apple has this entire thing about having each of their devices last for a very, very long time with years upon years of support. It just doesn't seem like that same love is given to their Mac lineup. As a matter of fact, the change from Mojave right to Catalina completely dropped 32-bit support, leaving a lot of older applications in the dust. This is why macOS Catalina is one of the least liked operating systems from the macOS catalog. I was able to upgrade the 1 GB of RAM into the 4 GB that we have now, and I was able to convert or upgrade the 80 gig or 250 gig in this case hard drive into a 250 gig solid state drive. But what's one thing that I didn't upgrade or that I couldn't fix? And it's the battery. So probably been noticing that the entire time this has been filming, this guy has been plugged into the wall, and you probably noticed that during the short little teardown to show you the upgradability of this device, there is no contact for the battery in here. That's because the battery connector for this guy was either dying or dead when I initially got it. There was some quirks going on with the battery where at some points the battery was able to be shown by the operating system, including the health and the battery life, and other times if you would unplug the device from the wall, it would immediately die. This went on and off for a little bit until finally the battery connector completely ceased to work whatsoever. I ended up buying another one on eBay, but for some reason that one didn't work too, which leads me to believe that the issue with the battery connector could actually be the motherboard on the device as opposed to the connector itself. So guys, that's pretty much it. This is a bit of a shorter video and not quite as flashy as the other My Life is a Mess videos, but this is a pretty cool piece of technology. I'm not super familiar with macOS, but why did I spend so much time trying to get this guy to work? If I'm gonna be honest with you, the initial reason why I tried to get this to work is there was a way you could actually Hackintosh existing MacBooks. Unfortunately, this guy falls just short of the minimum MacBook required to actually Hackintosh Catalina onto it, which is what I tried to do for quite a while. Being able to get it all the way up to Lion to begin with was, of course, a miracle in and of itself, but it looks like this guy is just a little too old to be really useful for anyone. So anyway, that's gonna do it for me, guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope you liked this short little video about this guy here. I love messing with technology, and if you guys also love watching me mess with technology, then of course feel free to watch the rest of my series of My Life is a Mess. I'm probably gonna, put the playlist at the end of the video like I normally do, but there's a lot of cool stuff in there that I think you guys might like. I had a pretty fun time with this guy, but realistically, I think it's really time to put this guy to bed. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope you had a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one.